Hello.
Hello.
I am proud to be interviewing you on behalf of the school report, and I'll be speaking to you about your past and also your interests. Okay.
I'm very, very pleased to be here.
Good.
Nice to be able to be part of this project.
Thank you. Thank you. What has inspired you to be an MP?
Oh gosh, it's an interesting question. There was no single thing that suddenly inspired me to become an MP. I actually started becoming interested in being an MP when I was at school. I was interested in current affairs, and I think it was wanting to be part of the debate, but also crucially wanting to make a difference. Because obviously in politics, you can make quite a difference to people's lives.
And was there anyone at your school who helped you to go into affairs and government?
No, I'll tell you a story. At one of the schools I went to, the history teacher decided that he would set up a debating society. The school didn't have a debating society, so he called a few people. He knew I was interested, and there were a few other people who were interested. And we went one lunchtime into a room, and he'd got lots of subjects written on little bits of paper in a sort of hat, and he had to pull one out and stand up and say something. And when I pulled mine out, I couldn't think of a thing to say. So I was completely silent. So that probably wasn't the best beginning.
No.
And the debating society didn't get, that was the only meeting they had, I think. So,
Yeah.
so there was nobody really who was kind of helping me.
Oh, right, okay. And are you from Maidenhead originally, or were you born elsewhere?
No, I was born down in Sussex.
Right, okay.
I was brought up in Oxfordshire. And my mother was from Reading, so sort of some connections around the area, but I didn't know Maidenhead until I came here to see if I could be selected to be the candidate for the Conservative Party.
Right, okay. And has your family been in affairs before?
We're not, no members of Parliament in
Right,
my
okay.
family, so one of my cousins was leader of Brighton Council at one stage, Brighton Hove Council at one stage, so he was in local government. My great-grandfather was involved in local politics in Wimbledon, where I then became councillor for a few years when I lived there. So I was able actually to deal with an issue that he had dealt with many, many years previously at a local park.
Oh, right, okay. What school did you go to, and what was it like?
I went to a variety of schools. I had quite a mixed education. I started off at a Church of England primary school. I then went into the private sector to a Roman Catholic convent school.
Oh.
I then came back into the state sector to a girls' grammar school, which then became a co-educational comprehensive while I was there.
Right.
So I've pretty much been through all
You've
the
been
sort of
through a
types
lot,
of schools.
yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. And were you ever bullied at school?
No, I wasn't. No, I didn't. I mean, that's a big issue. Funnily enough, I was at a function last night talking to somebody who runs a charity that helps children who are severely bullied at school. She was talking to me about the difficulties, obviously, that it can cause for youngsters, but I wasn't myself.
No. Oh, right, okay. And I'm now going to leave you with Adam.
Politics. My first question to you is, what characteristics are required for your job?
I'm not sure that there is a set of characteristics that is absolutely essential for the job. I mean, in terms of being a member of Parliament, I think you've got to be interested in people. I think crucially, that's the key thing. You've got to have a real interest in people and their lives and wanting to help them and make a difference in their lives. I think you've got to, both as a member of Parliament and in my sort of cabinet role, I think you've got to be pretty determined. You've got to be able to persevere. When you're pursuing an issue, you've got to be willing to just not be put off by the first response you get necessarily and carry on. And in any job, it helps to have a sense of humour.
What's the actual atmosphere like in the House of Commons?
Well, it varies according to what's actually happening inside. If we're talking about the chamber of the House of Commons, I mean, most people see it at Prime Minister's Questions, which, when it's pretty charged atmosphere, it's full, lots of noise, lots of sort of combative behaviour. Sometimes you'll get a debate or a subject being discussed when it's much calmer, fewer people in the House, and not such a charged atmosphere. So it can vary depending on the subject and the occasion.
What do you do on an average day as an MP?
There isn't, in a sense, there isn't an average day as an MP. There are certain sort of routines in Parliament. So each parliamentary day starts with an hour of questions to a particular department, and then we'll go into debates. So if you want to be, as a backbench MP, if you want to be in every day for those questions, you can be. You can timetable that. But really MPs will very much sort of make their own job. Some will sit on committees, and so they'll have to be in those committees sometimes. Some will take part in debates, they'll meet constituents. Every day can be quite different.
Do you use social networking sites to communicate with your constituents?
I have a website, but I don't use either Facebook or Twitter. I'm sorry about that. I took a kind of conscious decision on Twitter because I don't know whether people get the time. B, I've seen too many reports about people sort of saying, I got up and had a slice of toast. I think if you're going to do something like that, you've got to have the time to do it regularly and keep it up. And if I was going to do it, I'd want to do it myself and not get somebody else to do it for me, if you see what I mean. So
you can't be Facebook friends.
I'm sorry about that.
Do you ever disagree with Mr. Cameron?
Well, the good thing about David Cameron is that he's very open to have discussion about issues, and we do. So, in meetings, when you're talking about a particular policy development, he's very open to hear people's points of view and to discuss the different issues. But once we've agreed, as a government, that our position on a particular policy, then cabinet responsibility means we all stick with that.
What do you think of the coalition government?
Well, I think it's working well. I think it's new. Well, new. It hasn't been done for I think 60 years. Newish. So most people involved in politics today are not used to working in coalition government, but civil service wasn't used to working with the coalition government. So everybody had to work pretty hard at the beginning to sort out how things were going to operate. But actually, we've worked pretty well together. I have a Liberal Democrat minister in my department. We work very well. If there's an issue which we approach perhaps from a different angle, we just sit down and talk about it and agree a position.
If there was something that you could change about the running of the country, what would it be?
Don't change about the running of the country. I think some of the changes that have come about with the new coalition government were good in that we tried to restore sort of more proper process in running government. And that sounds totally boring, but actually it's about making sure that every issue is discussed properly, looked into properly before you come to a decision over it. And I think that's important. I think it's good for parliamentarians, particularly in government, to find ways of actually going out and listening to people. I go and knock on doors quite regularly in the constituency and just talk to people.
Has that ever been a point where you actually needed your bodyguards?
I think I probably ought to say I need them all the time. It's something, but it's very difficult to sort of get used to them first, and then of course it just becomes a natural part of life that they're there.
Have you got any new plans to improve the town centre?
Well, I think this is one of the really big issues for me. I was involved with the Advertiser and with the Civic Society some years ago in the work that led to the setting up of the prom group by the council, which has put a number of ideas together about what can happen in the town centre. I'm a great supporter of the waterway development, but I think the key thing is getting a better range of shops in the town centre. And obviously, there are some plans afoot at the moment, and I think this is one of the key issues for rejuvenating Maidenhead.
What impact do you think these plans will have on people in town?
Well, I hope that we can get a town centre developed that most people living in Maidenhead will feel they want to go and shop in. An awful lot of people don't do their major shops in town centre these days. They might pop down for a few bits and pieces. But I'd like to see a thriving town centre where people feel they can go, where they can do most of their shopping, and with the waterway where they can perhaps enjoy a nice environment for a cup of coffee or a meal or a drink or something as well.
Has becoming the Home Secretary altered your role as MP
dramatically. I mean, I think I'm still able to manage to have my constituency days. I live in my main home's in the constituency, so I'm here quite a lot, and you know, try to take part in the life of constituency. It does mean sometimes there'll be things that perhaps I have to do in London when otherwise I would be in the constituency. But by and large, I'm still able to carry on doing my constituency work.
Okay, so now I'm going to give you back to Barney, where he's going to talk to you about your interests.
Thank you.
Have you got any free time?
Not a lot.
No.
If I'm honest, not a lot. No.
And when you do get your free time, what do you do with it?
Oh, excuse me. Well, the one thing I do try to make sure I have time for is going to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
But I enjoy cooking. So I have some of the recipe books. So
Yes.
in sort of, if I can sort of do new recipes and things like that, I enjoy doing that. And my husband and I enjoy walking. So we do try and sort of do some walking from time to time.
Good. What do you like to make?
When I'm cooking, all sorts of things. I'll try all sorts of recipes. I do quite a lot of Italian sort of based recipes.
I like Italian.
Do you like Italian?
Italian's nice. Do you like sports?
Participating or watching?
Both.
Both.
Yeah.
Well, I don't I go to the gym and
Yes.
swim. And apart from that, I don't participate in any sports. But I do enjoy watching quite a lot of sport actually. I enjoy watching athletics, watching swimming, watching rowing.
Have you been watching the rugby on
I
the
do
weekends?
enjoy watching the rugby. Yes, it's been a bit hairy from time to
Yes.
time. The England-Italy match didn't start off too well.
No, it
But,
didn't.
and I'm sorry. The only thing I would say about the England-Wales match is it was a try.
Well, two Welshmen at the back of me. It's like disagree, but
Controversial.
Do you ever watch TV in the day?
No, I
I'm
don't
not.
really have any time to.
No.
And I watch a bit of TV when I can, sometimes at weekends, but I
Mm.
don't get to see an awful lot of TV in my life.
And are you in the office at the weekends, or are you at home with your husband?
I tend to be at home, but I have what's called a red box,
Oh, right.
which I every weekday evening, and then for the weekend, I get a red box which is just full of papers that I have to read, and something so I have to make decisions on policy and things like that.
How long does that take?
Well, it can take several hours,
Yeah,
so that takes quite a chunk of the weekend.
it must, yes. Now, I've noticed your shoes. Can you explain your thing for shoes, please?
Well, it's difficult to kind of give a description to it. I've just always been interested, always liked shoes, been interested in shoes. And of course it became quite well known a few years ago when the papers started to focus on my shoes, and they still do to a certain extent. But I just enjoy it. You express a bit of personality
Yes.
through interesting shoes.
Okay.
Probably not allowed to wear interesting shoes at school.
No, we're not, no. No. Anyway, thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well done.
Thank you.